Well, British police have rescued 3 women held captive for up to 30 years at a house in London.
Yes, the women are 69, 57 and 30 years of age. From what we understand, they've been held in those conditions for up to or in excess of 30 years. We're still establishing the true extent of what was happening to them, and that's part of our inquiry. There was a delay due to the fact that we were working with the victims who were highly traumatised. We wanted to make sure that we got professional support. We needed to establish the facts because it's very difficult to put into context what had occurred.
Officers from the Human Trafficking Unit arrested a man and a woman, both 67, at their home in South London. Police say they were alerted in October about the situation following a call by a charity. Apparently, one of the captives had called the charity and told them that she had been held unwillingly for 3 decades.
Well, when they contacted the charity asking for help, it was very clear that this was a sort of one chance call that we had to make a difference.
So what did they say?
Well, they basically told us that they were being held and they needed support to come out of a very difficult situation. Having seen me on the news on a couple of occasions and the name of the charity being Freedom and feeling that they knew me, they were able to make the call, believing that I would be able to make a difference. A house in the centre of London, in South London, an ordinary house in an ordinary street in the busiest in our capital city. So it's quite shocking, really, that this can go on.
To get the latest on that, we're now joined by Amina Taylor, Press TV's correspondent, who's joining us live now from London. Amina, as that sound clip there just said, this is quite a shocking story. How is this even possible that people would not know for 30 years that these women were being held captive?
It is extraordinary, but let me just put something in context for a lot of our international viewers. There might be around 12 million or so people in the capital, but for many of us, myself included, you come from a different place. So the number of born and bred Londoners with families here and very strong roots, it develops over time. And it is very possible to live in a neighborhood and not know the intimate details of your neighbors. You know them enough to say hello to them on the doorsteps, but you'd never know what happens behind closed doors. And whilst the information is emerging and we're finding out more and more information about this very disturbing case, you can understand that there might be an element of Stockholm syndrome here, where for 3 decades, the life that goes on behind the doors is all these women have come to know. The one who is the British citizen, as far as we can understand, may have lived her entire life in that capacity, in that level of captivity where what's going on may seem abhorrent and completely alien to us right now. But if that's your life, for decades on end, it almost becomes normalized. It seems quite shocking to say this, but we've seen other cases coming out of Ohio, other cases coming out of Austria and so on, where we do wonder, why is it that nobody suspected anything? And some of the reasons we find out in these very built-up Western areas, people keep to themselves.
So then, in a sense, is this more a question of the way Western society is structured more than the government or police forces?
I believe it might be a combination of both, because we understand from reports that are coming out now, because of the sensitivity surrounding the case, that the police didn't just go barging in to mount a rescue mission. They actually liaised with these women over a number of weeks to try and ascertain what exactly was going on. Can you imagine getting that call that we are in this central London location, we are 3 women who have been held here against our will in some capacity for a number of years now? The police officers might not know what to do with that kind of information. Is this credible? Do you go and interrupt a perfectly legitimate and legal situation because somebody just wants to create mischief? But it has a lot to do with the way in which Western societies are made up, in my opinion. I grew up in Jamaica. You would never have somebody moving next door that you don't know the ins and outs to. And I'm sure in a lot of our international homes, in a lot of places where viewers will be seeing this, they can't get their heads around this. Of course you will know your neighbors, you will know their situations. Maybe we're just good at being invisible in London.
Indeed, fair point. Well, we'll leave it there for now, but of course we do appreciate that. That was Amina Taylor speaking to us live from London.